Imagine a silent morning, the sun just beginning to rise. The world is calm, and life is just starting to stir. Birds are singing and the air is fresh with the promise of a new day. Suddenly, a blinding flash engulfs the sky, brighter than 1,000 suns. It is an overwhelming light that pierces through everything, leaving no shadow untouched. This is the terrifying reality of a nuclear explosion. A massive mushroom cloud rises ominously, a harbinger of the devastation to come. The initial moments are marked by intense heat and light, capable of causing instant burns and blindness at incredible distances. The heat is so extreme that it can ignite fires miles away. A shockwave follows, ripping through the air with unimaginable force, leveling buildings and tossing vehicles like toys. The sheer power of this wave is enough to flatten entire city blocks in an instant. The sheer force of the blast is beyond comprehension, instantly transforming the landscape into a scene of unimaginable destruction. What was once familiar is now unrecognizable, a wasteland of debris and ruin. Those closest to the detonation would be vaporized instantly, their existence extinguished in a fraction of a second. The epicenter becomes a zone of total annihilation. Further out, individuals would be thrown by the immense pressure wave, suffering horrific injuries. Emergency responders would struggle to cope with the sheer scale of the disaster. The heat from the explosion would melt metal, ignite fires and leave behind a trail of devastation in its wake. Entire neighborhoods could be set ablaze, compounding the chaos and destruction. The initial moments of a nuclear blast are a terrifying testament to the destructive power we hold as a species. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of our world and the catastrophic consequences of such immense power. As the dust settles and the initial shock subsides, a new danger emerges: radiation. Invisible and odorless, radiation silently contaminates the air, water, and ground. This invisible enemy penetrates the human body, damaging cells and disrupting vital processes. Exposure to high levels of radiation can lead to acute radiation sickness, with symptoms ranging from nausea and vomiting to severe burns and internal bleeding. The long-term effects of radiation exposure are equally insidious. Cancer rates soar as damaged cells mutate and divide uncontrollably. Birth defects become more common, a tragic legacy passed down through generations. Radiation poisoning is a cruel and indiscriminate killer, leaving an indelible mark on individuals and populations alike. The question of survival in the aftermath of a nuclear explosion is a complex one. Proximity to the detonation, the level of radiation exposure, and access to medical care all play a role. Those fortunate enough to be in shelters or at a distance from the blast stand a better chance. However, the long-term effects of radiation exposure remain a constant threat. Immediate medical attention is crucial for those exposed to radiation. Decontamination procedures can help remove radioactive particles from the body, while supportive care can address symptoms and complications. However, the reality is that in a large-scale nuclear event, medical resources would be overwhelmed, and many would be left to face the invisible enemy alone. Section 4. Potassium and Perspective. Debunking the banana myth. You might have heard that bananas are radioactive. It's true. Bananas contain potassium, and a small amount of potassium decays radioactively. However, the dose of radiation from eating a banana is incredibly small, far less than the natural background radiation we encounter daily. The banana analogy highlights an important point. We encounter low levels of radiation all the time from various sources. Our bodies have evolved to cope with this background radiation. It's the massive doses associated with nuclear explosions that pose a grave threat to human health. Section 5. A scarred landscape, physical and psychological trauma. For those who survived the initial blast and the invisible threat of radiation, the journey is far from over. The immediate aftermath is just the beginning of a long and arduous path to recovery. The physical and psychological scars of a nuclear attack run deep. These scars are not just skin deep but penetrate the very soul of the survivors. Survivors may grapple with chronic illnesses, disfigurement, and the loss of loved ones. The medical challenges are compounded by the emotional pain of losing family and friends. The world they once knew is gone, replaced by a desolate landscape, and the constant fear of lingering radiation. The familiar streets and homes are now unrecognizable. The psychological toll is immeasurable. The haunting memories and the sense of loss can be overwhelming. post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and depression are common among survivors. These mental health issues can persist for years, affecting daily life and relationships. The trauma of experiencing such devastation can haunt individuals for a lifetime, shaping their perceptions and relationships. The emotional scars can be as debilitating as the physical ones. The human cost of a nuclear attack extends far beyond the initial casualties, leaving an enduring legacy of suffering. The memories of the lost and the pain of the survivors serve as a stark reminder of the tragedy. Section 6. The long shadow generations marked by the blast. The impact of a nuclear explosion reverberates through generations, leaving an indelible mark on families and communities. Genetic damage caused by radiation can lead to an increased risk of cancer, birth defects, and other severe health issues. These health problems can manifest not only in the immediate survivors, but also in their children and grandchildren, creating a cycle of suffering. The genetic legacy of a nuclear attack serves as a stark reminder of the far-reaching consequences of our actions, affecting countless lives. Moreover, the environmental contamination from a nuclear explosion can persist for decades, rendering land uninhabitable and poisoning water sources, which in turn affects agriculture and wildlife. The long-term ecological damage further exacerbates the human cost, displacing populations and disrupting ecosystems, leading to a loss of biodiversity. The consequences of a nuclear attack are not confined to a single moment. They ripple through time, affecting future generations. Their shadow stretches far into the future, a haunting reminder of the devastation that can be wrought by human hands. Section 7. A call to conscience, our shared responsibility. The terrifying potential of nuclear weapons demands our attention and action. The development and proliferation of these weapons pose an existential threat to humanity. It is our collective responsibility to advocate for peace, diplomacy, and nuclear disarmament. We must learn from the past, remembering the devastating consequences of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The human cost of nuclear war is simply unacceptable. By promoting dialogue, fostering understanding, and working towards a world free of nuclear weapons, we can help ensure that the horrors of nuclear war remain confined to the history books. The future of our planet and the well-being of generations to come depend on it.